The moving truck pulled into the quiet suburban cul-de-sac just as the morning sun painted the sky gold. Inside was the Johnson family, Marcus, Alicia, and their 10-year-old son, Caleb. They had worked for years to afford this home, a dream come true after decades of renting cramped apartments in the city. But from the moment they stepped out of the truck, they could feel it, the stairs. Curtains shifting. Whispers carried by the wind. A neighborhood that wasn't ready for them. Still, Alicia smiled through it. "Let them talk," she said softly, taking Marcus's hand. "We're home now. Before we start, hit that like and subscribe button, then comment where you're watching from. Your support keeps these powerful stories coming." What they didn't know was that by nightfall, those same neighbors would hold a secret meeting, plotting to drive them out before they even unpacked. By day 2, the hostility began. Someone poured paint over their welcome mat. Their trash bins were accidentally knocked over every morning. And every time Marcus stepped outside, a man named Mr. Thompson, the self-proclaimed neighborhood leader, would appear. "Morning," Thompson said with a smirk, arms crossed. "You folks sure this is the right address? These houses are, well, let's just say they're a bit pricey for newcomers." Marcus kept calm. "We're right where we belong." Thompson chuckled. "Well, I suppose we'll see about that." A few days later, a letter showed up in their mailbox, an official-looking notice stamped "Eviction Warning." Marcus froze. "Eviction? We just moved in." The letter claimed their purchase was invalid, citing a clerical error in property transfer. The signature at the bottom read, "Neighborhood Association, Enforcement Division." But the Johnsons had done everything by the book. Loan approved. Title cleared. Everything legal. When Marcus called the number listed on the notice, Thompson's smug voice answered. "Oh, don't worry, Mr. Johnson. We're just ensuring everything's in order. Some folks buy where they shouldn't." Marcus clenched his jaw. "This isn't about paperwork. It's about who you think belongs here." Thompson laughed quietly. "Call it what you want, but in this neighborhood, we protect our standards." That night, Alicia found Marcus sitting at the dining table surrounded by files and documents. "Baby, you've been at this all day," she said softly. He sighed. "They're trying to push us out, Ollie. They think we don't deserve to be here. But I'm not giving them that satisfaction." She rested a hand on his shoulder. "Then let's fight this together." Over the next week, the Johnsons gathered every piece of documentation, their deed, title insurance, closing receipts. But when they went to the county records office, they were stunned. The clerk frowned, typing rapidly. "That's strange, your deed isn't showing up in our digital system." Marcus's voice rose. "What do you mean it's not showing up? We have the signed deed right here." The clerk looked apologetic. "I'm sorry, sir. It looks like someone filed a new claim, under Thompson Development Group." Marcus's stomach dropped. "He's trying to steal our property." The clerk leaned in. "Off the record, this happens sometimes in wealthy districts. They file a competing claim to freeze your ownership until the court decides. That could take months." Alicia's eyes welled up. "We could lose everything." But Marcus's expression hardened. "Not if I find out what he's hiding." That night, as rain poured over the dark streets, Marcus parked his truck near Thompson's house and waited. When the lights went out, he slipped quietly toward the mailbox. Inside was a thick envelope addressed to Thompson Development LLC. It was a land ownership map, not just their house, but several properties in the area marked for redevelopment. Their home sat at the center, the key parcel connecting all the land. "Now it makes sense," Marcus whispered. "He's not just racist. He's greedy." He took pictures of everything and rushed home. The next morning, as Thompson and the neighbors gathered in front of the Johnsons' yard, Marcus was ready. Well, Thompson said loudly, his voice dripping with mock politeness. "I see you got our final notice. You have 72 hours to vacate before legal action." Marcus stepped forward, calm but firm. "Actually, you might want to hold off on that." Thompson raised an eyebrow. "Excuse me?" Marcus held up a folder. "Because according to county records, you filed a fraudulent land claim. You tried to declare our property as part of your development project. That's a felony." The crowd murmured. Thompson's confident smile faltered. "That's ridiculous. I don't know what you're talking about." "Oh, I think you do," Marcus replied. "And here's the part you didn't expect. Our deed doesn't just prove we own this house. It also shows we own 2 acres of land surrounding it, including your private walkway and that community park you built your little HOA around." The gasps were audible. Thompson stammered, "That's impossible." Marcus pulled out another paper. "Bought from the previous owner 20 years ago. Recorded. Stamped. Official. You might have missed that part when you were digging through our files." Alicia stepped beside him. So, technically, Mr. Thompson, you're the trespasser. Silence fell over the cul-de-sac. Marcus looked around at the stunned faces. You wanted us gone so badly, that you forgot to check who really owns this land. He handed a copy of the proof to a nearby reporter, because by now, the confrontation had drawn attention. Cameras rolled. Microphones appeared. The internet was watching. By the evening, the story went viral. Family targeted by racist HOA turns out to own entire neighborhood land rights. Thompson resigned from the Homeowners Association within 24 hours. His development deal collapsed. The neighbors who once sneered now avoided eye contact. For the first time since moving in, the Johnsons felt peace. Weeks later, the city offered to buy back part of their land for public use, for 7 figures. But Marcus refused. It's not about money, he said. It's about principle. You can't put a price on dignity. They turned their extra land into a community garden, open to everyone, even the same neighbors who once judged them. Alicia often said, we didn't move into their world. They moved into ours. It seemed like justice had been served. Until one evening, Marcus received a letter. No return address. Just a single sheet of paper inside. He unfolded it and froze. It was a legal notice from Thompson and Grant Development Holdings. This land was never yours. You've been living on borrowed ground. We're coming back for what's ours. At the bottom, in bold red ink, it read, Phase 2 begins. Marcus looked out the window toward the horizon, where new construction crews had started clearing land just beyond their fence. Alicia walked up behind him. What is it? She whispered. He exhaled slowly. They're not done with us. The wind rustled through the trees, carrying the faint hum of heavy machinery. The war for their home had just begun. The sound of bulldozers roared in the distance. What had once been a peaceful morning in the Johnsons' neighborhood was now filled with the deep, rumbling growl of machines tearing through the soil. Marcus stood on his porch, arms folded, watching as orange construction trucks parked just beyond his fence line. The same land he now legally owned. Alicia came up beside him, her robe still tied loosely. They're serious this time, she said, her voice trembling. They're clearing everything. Marcus nodded grimly. Thompson's back. Only now he's hiding behind a bigger company. The new company, Thompson and Grant Development Holdings, had sent the Johnsons another notice. It claimed that their ownership of the land had been a clerical oversight and that a previous mineral rights deed still gave the company authority to build. It was a loophole, a dangerous one. But Marcus wasn't the type to back down. They're trying to find another angle, he said. But this time, we hit back harder. He pulled out his phone and dialed a number. It's time, he said into the receiver. We're going public. Within hours, reporters gathered outside the Johnson home again. Cameras flashed as Marcus held up the letter. This isn't just about one family or one house, he said firmly. This is about a system that keeps changing the rules to push us out when we don't fit their image. They tried to take our home. Now they're trying to take the ground under it. Alicia stepped beside him. But what they don't know, she said, voice strong, is that this ground holds more than property. It holds history. The crowd leaned in as Marcus continued. When I looked deeper into the deed, I found records, old survey maps from the 1800s. And those maps show something buried here long before any of these homes were built. The crowd murmured. What kind of something? A reporter shouted. Marcus smiled faintly. A legacy. That night, under a dim flashlight, Marcus and Caleb dug near the back fence, the area where the old property line met the new construction site. The boy's eyes lit with curiosity. Dad, what are we looking for? Marcus wiped his brow. Proof. Of who really owns this land, and why they want it back so bad. After an hour of digging, the shovel hit something solid. They crouched down, brushing away the dirt to reveal a rusted metal box, sealed tight. Alicia came running out. Did you find something? Marcus pried it open. Inside were yellow documents wrapped in oilcloth. He unfolded one carefully. It was a land grant dated 1867, issued to Jeremiah Johnson, a freed black farmer. The name sent chills down Marcus's spine. That's my great-great-grandfather. The grant clearly outlined the original boundaries. Not only did it cover their home and the neighborhood, but it extended beyond where the new company was building. This land's been in our family for over a century, Marcus whispered. And they've been sitting on it, pretending it wasn't ours. Alicia stared at the document. If we prove this, it'll destroy Thompson and Grant completely. Marcus nodded. Then that's exactly what we're going to do. The next morning, Thompson himself returned, wearing a suit, flanked by lawyers. Mr. Johnson, he said, voice dripping with fake politeness, I heard you've been digging. Find anything interesting? Marcus smiled. More than you think. Thompson chuckled. Let me guess, some old story about your ancestors? That's cute, but it doesn't change the legal structure of. Marcus interrupted, holding up the 1867 deed. You mean this? The original land grant filed under Johnson Holdings, predating your corporation by 150 years? I've already sent digital copies to the media and the city registrar. Thompson's smile faded. Marcus stepped closer. Your bulldozers are digging on our family's land. Which means every inch of damage you've done is destruction of private property. The color drained from Thompson's face. You can't prove. I can, Marcus cut in. And I just did. The whole country's watching. Behind them, reporters' microphones extended forward. Cameras were rolling. Thompson's lawyers whispered urgently, but it was too late. One of the county officials stepped forward holding a document. Mr. Thompson, she said, effective immediately, your company's development rights are revoked. This land legally belongs to the Johnson family. You're trespassing. A loud cheer erupted from the gathered crowd. By evening, the construction crews packed up. The Johnsons stood watching as the last bulldozer drove away. Caleb tugged his father's sleeve. Does this mean we won, Dad? Marcus knelt down and smiled. We didn't just win, son. We reclaimed what was already ours. Alicia wrapped her arm around him. You turned their hate into history. Over the following months, the Johnsons transformed their land. What was once targeted for luxury condos became the Jeremiah Johnson Heritage Park, honoring freed black landowners who built their own communities despite oppression. Local schools visited the park weekly. Families gathered at the community center built in the heart of it. The same neighbors who once tried to evict them now came to volunteer, learning that respect grows deeper when you face the truth. It was poetic justice, the kind you could feel in your soul. But one quiet night, as Marcus was locking up the park office, a black SUV pulled up near the gate. The window rolled down, revealing a man in a gray suit, not Thompson, but someone new. Mr. Johnson, the man said, his voice cold. You've done quite well for yourself. But I think you found something that wasn't meant to be uncovered. Marcus frowned. Who are you? The man tossed a file envelope onto the ground. Let's just say I work for people who've been watching this land for a long time. That box you dug up? It wasn't the only thing buried here. Marcus bent down to pick up the envelope, but when he looked up again, the SUV was gone. Inside the envelope was a single photograph, grainy, black and white. It showed his great-great-grandfather standing beside a large stone structure buried halfway in the earth. Written across the back, in faded ink, were 4 chilling words. The vault still sleeps. Marcus stood frozen in the moonlight, the sound of distant thunder rolling in the hills. Alicia called from the porch, everything okay, baby? He looked at the photo again, then back toward the dark forest where the SUV disappeared. Yeah, he said slowly, though his heart pounded. But something tells me, this isn't over. The wind picked up, rustling through the trees, as the camera faded to black. Days later, Marcus returned to the spot from the old photograph, deep in the woods behind their property. Guided by Caleb and the image of Jeremiah Johnson, they unearthed a stone doorway engraved with strange markings. Inside lay a sealed vault containing journals, maps, and a symbol matching the family crest, proof that Jeremiah and others had hidden gold and records of freedmen's land deeds across the South. As Marcus held the book, he whispered, he didn't just fight for land, he preserved a legacy. The vault door closed behind them softly, as if the ancestors had finally found peace. Comment below if you know you enjoyed the story. Also don't forget to follow, subscribe and turn on the notification button for more stories coming up.